Hello YouTube, Jumpy23 here bringing you round 6 of ADV Revival. Today I've picked ADAM77 versus UDM31 to commentate. This is a game at 4-1, which if you've been following all my commentaries, and I'm sure you all have because you're super fans, the loser's going to have to win 3 in a row after losing this set. So you don't want to be in that situation. Adam and UDM are both decently established players at this point. They've been around for a couple years. I first met UDM when he was like brand new to Pokemon, and now he's pretty good. So I'm probably going to be rooting for him. I'm a little bit proud of his growth as a player. Adam played in Gymvitational too, so he's I guess the more well-known of the two, but UDM is definitely not far behind him in terms of Pokemon skill, if behind him at all. And the only way to find out if he's behind him at all is to hit play, so I'm going to do that now. Tauros lead. Okay, this dude's trolling. What the heck? So Tauros is base 110 and has choice banded return. I bet a lot of people don't even know what it does, but that's basically what it does. Base 110 speed. But then he goes out to Magneton trying to catch a Scarm come in, and oh, nice. Okay. He doesn't catch the Scarm, but then the Snorlax, and then doubles Mag again and catches a Scarm that time. If at first you don't succeed, try again. So good start by UDM, and unfortunately for him, Adam does have a Tyranitar, so you can't just click normal moves yet. That crunched it a lot. Tauros has no bulk, but the Tyranitar is chonked. So, oh, and he has a Gengar too. Oh my gosh, this Tauros is never accomplishing anything I was going to say. So now he can click normal moves, but he still can't. One could argue that Tauros was a really bad pick into Adam because Adam is famous for running Big 5 Zap, and that is in fact what he's got here. So it depends what UDM's got in the back, but he could be in for a real uphill battle. And it's Wish Bliss. Now you can't pass the Wish to Tyranitar because it will still die to Thunderbolt. So he's going to stay in and just use that Wish to get a Seismic off on the Magneton. And this is Magneton's last turn alive. Is UDM going to preserve it to have a Spike Sack later? Well, not a Spike Sack, but a Burn Sack? No, he's not. He's going to try and catch something with a Toxic, but whiff. And now the Blissey has dropped to, what, 70% after Toxic, I think? Yeah, 75. Tauros comes in and avoids taking Sand Chip because it came in after a Sand Kill. You know, fun ADV mechanic that you got to be pretty plugged in to notice. And misses the prediction, goes for Earthquake. I don't think Earthquake is really ever the right click there with Tyranitar so low, but I guess Double Edge wasn't quite killing, and then Tyranitar could have pivoted to Gengar. Well, anyway, so Snorlax is going to try and 1v1 the Zapdos, but it's not succeeding. We're going to see an explosion, yes, and Adam's sacking the Tyranitar. That was a mid-ground between, like, reading the boom and going Gengar versus, oh, it's not Big 5, technically, it's a Flygon, but he's got all the same things that destroy normal types. What was I going to say? That was a mid-ground between reading the Gengar, reading the explosion and going Gengar, and then not getting Shadow Balled on a prediction. So, good choice. He's not going to need Pursuit Tyranitar into a super offensive team. And now when Metagross comes in, it might also be Choice Banded, considering the Magneton, or considering the Choice Banded everything. But I would guess it's Agility with the Magneton. And the Mash is definitely not Choice Band damage. There's a leftover, so yeah, this is probably Agility. Oh my gosh, 2 Mash misses. That's super unlucky, because this is in fact the last Steel Resist. The Metagross could have done a lot of damage if you're replacing Swampert with Flygon. One of the things that really sucks is you're a lot weaker to Salamence and Metagross. No! Dragon Dance, that was greed. I guess he needed to be faster than the Gengar, but that could have gone so wrong if that Zap had HP Ice or a status. Lucky for him, it didn't have any of that stuff. So the Salamence is doing okay. Now, Flygon's going to try and Toxic it. No, it's going to Rock Slide. Interesting choice. But it worked out. And then UDM going for the flinch. Doesn't get it. Good move to go for the flinch, because if you hit that, you're going to win. Probably, but doesn't get it. And Adam takes game 1. Yeah, that was a team choice error, I think. So, I guess UDM decided, you know, I'm going to swag out, bring Tauros. But Adam just had like a team that was not at all weak to Fizz off. And UDM kind of thudded, even with the really good Magneton switch early. On to game 2. And game 2 starts with 2 Metagrosses, no Tauroses, so I think we've decided to be normal. And they're both trading Earthquakes. Now, UDM's took Choice Banded damage, and Adam's did not. Choice Banded Metagross means there's probably not a mag in back, so Skarmory's a very safe switch-in on Choice Banded Earthquake. And in fact, there wasn't a mag, and Adam's trying to focus down the Skarmory, but that's so easy, especially when you've already got a Spike Up. It's so easy to just click Peck. If he curses, you can Roar. If he doesn't curse, like, you take nothing ever. So UDM's just going to try and peck down this Lax. I will say that, yeah, you can get Farad, and Adam gets that first try Body Slam Farad. Definitely been the luckier of the 2 players so far this set. But even so, the Skarmory is not feeling too bad. Suicune on a Metagross team is usually not Roar, so it's going to be some other set. Metagross lead with Tyranitar in back is an interesting combo, though. It might be Dragon Dance. Usually a Metagross team is... Metagross lead teams are weatherless. But this one's got a Tyranitar in back, and it clicks Rock Slide, so it's a physical Tyranitar, and here comes a Claydol. Yeah, this is like a pretty normal team, except for the Tyranitar. But the Skarmory can still spike up on the Claydol, but you can kind of fish for a full para on this like sequence that just happened, where the Skarmory comes in and spikes as you switch out. And once you get the full para, then you can try and press that advantage. So UDM's got a Dugtrio. His last is probably Suicune then. This is a pretty famous team. And gets rid of the Metagross before it can explode on anything. That works out pretty well for him. Losing only 1 Pokemon to Choice Banded Metagross is like kind of the minimum when you're running Stall. Tyranitar clicks Hidden Power. Is that Bug trying to catch a Claydol? It's more likely to be Bug than it is to be Grass, I would say. When you have a Suicune, you're less scared of Swampert. More scared of Celebi with this team for sure. And UDM's got Toxic on his... Okay, it is Bug. UDM's got Toxic on his Skarmory, so that's not super common on Stall teams. Usually they're Pro Peck. And Adam was not ready to get Toxic, and so that's going to help UDM bear the brunt of that Tyranitar assault. And instead of Suicune, his last is Melodic. I'd have to think more than I have time to do in this commentary on whether Melodic really ruins this team. I'm just used to seeing it with Suicune. But anyway, now I'm a few turns behind. He gets a Skarmory and gets another Spike, and Adam is trying to make progress with his Lax. Of course, it's going to be tough to make progress through Skarmory without a lot of paras, but he's really shown nothing that can make progress at this point in the game. I wonder what his last is, and if this is going to be like a really easy, just chip shot layup for UDM, or if Adam's going to actually make him work for it. The Rock Slide only doing 26 means that Tyranitar is not even very invested, which surprises me. I would have thought it would be like a max attack Tyranitar on this team, so I wonder what that is. And Suicune going for Calm Mind. It showed Ice Beam earlier, so we know it's not Roar. It's going to be probably Calm Mind Rest to attacks with Calm. That's a popular set these days, and that's the only one that would Calm Mind in front of a Melodic. You would need to have Rest for that decision to make any sense at all. There it is. That's what it is. And UDM has Calm Mind Blissey. So... from Adam's side, the Suicune can win if UDM can't break it with CM Bliss. Either, you typically have to get a crit in 12 tries because Suicune can tank 3 Thunderbolts at matched Calm Minds. Now that doesn't mean he will win if he doesn't get crit, because UDM still has Toxic and Roar and Explosion and stuff, but UDM would definitely prefer to just crit this. The other alternative is like PP stalling Calm Mind, which is tough and scary because your Suicune is paralyzed, and if you fail to Roar, you can get out of hand fast. The other thing you can do, and he didn't here, is he's allowed to go Dugtrio on a Rest turn. If you get Dugtrio in on the turn Suicune clicks Rest, you just 3-shot with Earthquake, and that's the game. So there's a lot of ways that UDM can win this, but Adam has a shot at breaking with this Suicune, I guess is what I'm trying to get across. There's not much to do here except for watch and see what happens. Adam is going to Calm Mind here so that he can rest again next turn. Oh wow, that Thunderbolt doing 33 is more than I expected. It's just not as calm as I had thought. But UDM boosting again on the rest is not the right use of PP. He's down to 6 Thunderbolts now. And it says 18, but you have to remember that pressure doesn't work in ADV replays. Oh, and Adam just switches out. He's going to boom the Claydol here, or he's at least pretending he's going to boom the Claydol here. He doesn't. Does UDM call it? No, UDM plays it safe and switches as well. That was weird. Like, I don't know why Adam switched, and we'll see if he gets punished for it. But the Suicune is at full HP with 1 rest turn, so he's going to have another chance later to make the same thing happen. Also, we see Adam's last is Salamence, and given the bent of this team, it's probably Dragon Dance Salamence. So that's another thing that can win with the right luck, but it definitely does need luck. UDM going to Dugtrio on the Tyranitar. That could have gone poorly, but it didn't for him. And takes out the Tyranitar. Goes to Skarmory on the Claydol, threatening to spin. He's going to spike up again. We've seen this one. And he fails to spike. Suicune is at full HP and no spike up. He's going to stay and get a spike here because there's like a lot that has to, like, you have to give Suicune a lot of free turns to be threatened by it. As you have the Toxic Milotic that can always force it to rest. And then you go to Skarmory and Roar. Now he's bleeding HP on his Skarmory, but it's kind of fine because it was at full, so it'll probably get back up to full pretty quick. Once Skarmory starts getting low, then it's kind of a snowball effect, and it keeps getting lower and lower, and it gets really scary. But he's still pretty far from that happening. Now, if the Lax lands a Focus Punch or a Self-Destruct on it here, then it could be scary, but it doesn't. It just Body Slams. Although, you know, this turn now also, it's threatening to Self-Destruct on a Protect, and UDM tries to read that and goes Claydol, but just gets Body Slammed for his trouble. Doesn't want to lose this boom, surely. Oh, he does, though. And he's going to Doug Revenge the Snorlax to avoid getting boomed on by the Lax. So yeah, so far UDM has taken 0 booms from Adam's 2 Explosion users that have been knocked out. So that's been alright. Although he had to sack a Pokemon and then Doug Revenge both times, so it kind of works out the same, really. And again, Skarmory full parrying. Now, he's going to want to save it here because, yeah, taking that Surf would definitely put you in scary range with the Dragon Dance Salamence in back. I'm going to speed this game up. It might be a long one. I didn't watch it before I started commentating, so now it's on fast replay mode. And UDM's going to try and go for the Thunderbolt strategy again. Interesting. Considering he gave up on... No, Adam gave up on that last time, so... yeah, I guess that works. Maybe he even thinks if I see him to +6, Adam will just switch out and I'll use some CMPP without having to roar the Suicune. Nope, he's going for Thunderbolts. And Adam's going to CM and then rest. Oh, Para! That's another thing that can happen if Adam full paras this turn. He doesn't even try for it. Oh, that's so much better, though. He goes Dugtrio because Adam's absolutely resting. And now UDM's going to get the 3 KO. Wow, what the heck is those EVs? 45? That's more than I expected as well. Is this Adamant Doug or something? Well, anyway, there goes the Suicune. And without Suicune, Adam's chance of winning this game is approaching 0 quickly. So the Dragon Dance Salamence has to get through not only a Milotic and a Skarmory, but also an Ice Beam Blissey. And then Claydol can never 1v1 like anything. 1 flinch, he needs 1 more to get through the Milo. Or he's going to Dragon Dance and try and dodge Toxic, but he doesn't. So, also showing Rock Slide kind of shows that he's not Refresh. So UDM can rest easy about that. As he goes to Skarmory, trying to save the Milotic because it's the easiest way to 1v1 the Claydol, I guess. Now, at this point, the Salamence has very few turns in which it can win, so... Oh yeah, UDM Skarmory doesn't have Protect, does it? Yeah. The Salamence has very few turns in which it can win, so even though the Skarmory doesn't have Protect, with those 2 Rock Slide misses, it's like impossible for it to do enough damage. The only thing UDM needs left at the end is a Milotic and like 1 thing with 1 hit point, so that Adam can't force a tie with Boom. And he's going to get there, so we'll see if they even bother playing it out. I guess they will. Adam might be one of those never forfeit people. He was trained by Colin 7. But UDM takes game 2 in a pretty clean demonstration of how to play Stall. And now it's on to game 3. Alright, game 3. If game 2 was a test of your patience, let's hope that game 3 is a little shorter. And we see a Skarmory lead, and it, of course, spikes turn 1, as Skarmory lead always does. Tyranitar clicks Flamethrower and doesn't get the 16% chance to instantly win the game with either a crit or a burn. So we get to see a real game. The Tyranitar's Flamethrower damage is kind of low, but it was also slower than the Skarmory, so it's got to be Pursuit Tyranitar. It can't be like a mix. But I don't know. That was a low roll Flamethrower, I guess. And UDM has Thunder Wave Blissey, trying to catch whatever's coming in, but whatever's coming in was a Blissey. It makes sense that Adam would have a stallish team after seeing a Pursuit Tyranitar lead, and in fact, yes, it has a Forretress. So Forretress taking Thunder Wave sucks for the Forretress user. Against like a healthy enough Skarmory, eventually you're going to get parried, and it's going to suck. So unless Adam's got a Aromatherapy, I think that was too early to just say, I'm taking this T-Wave. I try really hard to avoid taking T-Wave on my Forretress. But we'll see. And Celebi comes in for UDM, so oh no, I'm sorry, it's another stall versus stall. Well, you're gonna have to strap in, folks, because this is like a fun game for me, so deal with it. And Celebi's got Leech Seed. It only has 16 PP, and stall teams, like, genuinely, most stall teams try and PP stall Leech Seed to win. So, we will see what Adam is up to. Going hard Fortress, but it works out. I guess that makes sense, because he decides on that turn, if the Celebi has Recover, it's not going to have Hidden Power Fire. So I can go 4E because it'll recover, and if it doesn't have Recover, it's going to switch out. So that was funny. That was like a cool play by Adam. He tries and catches the Celebi stay with a Dug Double. I don't like that because of what I just explained. It just recovered, so it's probably not HP Fire. And you've just revealed that you have Dugtrio, which is a lot of information to give up without getting a successful trap off of it. Now the Tyranitar keeps clicking Flamethrower, and Swampert is a good switch in to Pursuit Tyranitar without Grass. He goes Blissey to Scout if it's Grass. It's not. It just clicked Crunch. And now you kind of have to switch your Blissey back out, because if it's not Grass, it might be a Fighting type move. But he stays in Soft Boiled. I mean, you don't die to Focus Punch, but you certainly don't want to eat it. But he got away with it as Adam's Tyranitar switched out. Maybe UDM knows the team. I don't. He T-Waves a Calm Mind Blissey. That can be a tough situation to be in for a stall team. As a lot of times they want to use Toxic to force Calm Mind Blissey out, and instead it took a T-Wave. But he does have this Swampert coming in, and it can threaten Blissey out with Earthquake. Normally Blissey can, of course, soft-boiled stall Earthquake, but when you're paralyzed, that's not a winning proposition. And Adam reveals Gengar as well. This is an interesting Fortress team. It's very, like, support. Like, everything on this team is a support Pokemon, and nothing is just, like, a Pokemon that can stay in and, like, do things to a lot of things. So it's a bit of a tricky team to play, and the last is Swampert, which kind of fulfills that role of staying in, especially if it's going to be a Refresh Swampert, which we'll find out shortly. Like, it is Toxic Refresh Swampert. Also, UDM with the Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl seems like a good Pokemon to have here. Now, Pursuit Tyranitar can make Aerodactyl lines tricky, especially with the Gengar. Because whatever you lock in, something can punish it pretty hard. But, also, if UDM guesses right, Adam just loses a Pokemon every time. The Swampert's the only thing he's got, but it's not that healthy. And the Fortress is pretty far from being able to spin, as it's going to drop to about 30% next time it comes in. Using your Swampert's HP to get 3 layers, or your Skarmory's HP to get 3 layers, I'm not sure about here. Because, like, the Fortress still can spin unless your last is Gengar. If your last is Gengar, then UDM has almost got this locked up already, honestly. But it worked out for him. He got his 3 layers. His Skarmory is still alive. He also was giving Swampert, like, leftovers chip heal while he was doing that, which is the other reason I'm not sure about that line. And he gets a Para on the Tyranitar, which I don't think is going to do too much in terms of, like, slowing it down, but at the very least, you know, there's a random chance that Tyranitar doesn't move, so paralyzing it's always nice if you don't have any other status you want to put on it. The Dugtrio comes in thinking it might be Mono Bliss, but it's not. UDM had hidden that Ice Beam for the entire game until this point. So Adam loses his entire Dugtrio to do half of a Bliss, and then his Fortress full paras. That's what I was saying, man. When that Fortress gets paralyzed, it's always devastating. And that's going to be game. Like, CM Blissey can make things happen, I guess, because UDM hasn't revealed a good counter to it. But it depends what his last is, and even then it's going to be a long shot. But now UDM can sack the Skarmory to get the Swampert in safely, and the Bliss is paralyzed, so then he can start checking out EQs. There is also the Aerodactyl. Okay, he doesn't sack the Skarmory to get the Purd in safely. I don't like that. You should have done sack and Skarmory. But even so, after an EQ, now the Aerodactyl is going to force the Bliss out, or the Bliss is just going to paralyze. I was going to say the Aerodactyl is going to force the Bliss out, and it can never come back in because it's at 12%, so even like a Seismic Toss will kill it. Now the Gengar comes in. It doesn't have Grass Move, I was about to ask, but UDM misses the Hydro Pump, so it's almost like it had Grass Move the whole time. UDM has Ice Beam on his Blissey, so he can go Blissey here and just Ice Beam, yeah, the Gengar. If he didn't have Ice Beam, then I would say, you know, it's scary because he has no Gengar answer revealed, but Gengar explodes. Okay, Explosion Gengar with Dugtrio is like a classic combo, but on a Fortress team, that's kind of whack. Man, I don't really love Adam's team. It's like, I don't know, like trade-based stall, which is a strange, I guess ABR has patented that style, but it's very weird to me. Well, anyway, so with Blissey and Celebi, UDM is not scared of a fresh Pert at this point, and so Adam's trying to get Tyranitar into pursuit to Celebi, but instead UDM reveals that his last also has Natural Cure and goes for a spin. Okay, that was kind of a cheeky spin, to say the least. Some might call it a dumb spin, but he's so far ahead that nothing matters at this point. You can just win with Celebi as long as it has a Grass move. And so he goes to Celebi here, and we're about to see the end of the game. Yeah, Hidden Power Grass, and then Tyranitar comes in, you Grass it again, and then you Revenge with Aerodactyl. This is again where I would forfeit, but Adam is a Call-in 7 protege, so he's gonna make us sit here and watch the Tyranitar click Crunch. I guess he gets his kill. Well, congrats to UDM for winning this set. Well played by both. Questionable team choices by both. Game 1, the UDM with that Tauros, and Game 3, Adam with this jank stall. But good set overall. Thanks for watching.